fresh meat. We're back.
The mirror is used in horror often as a plot device.
We're back.
In storytelling and urban legends, the mirror can be a way to summon a boogeyman, whether it is Candyman,
And I don't know why, but she said his name the last time. Candyman. She turned out the lights.
or in scary stories to tell in the dark. For many children, their introduction was Ghost in the Mirror, a game kids can play to conjure a ghost. But of course it takes many forms. One popular version is Bloody Mary.
You need to keep the light off longer.
Okay. Alright, you wanna play Bloody Mary? Let's play Bloody Mary.
Okay, you ready?
You're not gonna see anybody play Bloody Mary like I'm about to play Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. What's that? I know, I heard it too. Holy shit.
Underlying these stories is the idea that our world has a mirror world somewhere right in front of us. Ghosts we cannot see, other versions of us we cannot see. All we need is a way to access this parallel world. Mirrors tend to encourage ideas of having two realities, nestled up next to each other, that are supposed to be the same, but they aren't. In Oculus, the two worlds are memories and reality. From the beginning, we are introduced to an abusive family, an abusive father. We think.
Let's talk about why we're really here.
Let's. 2002. The Lasser glass adorns the home office of Alan Russell, software designer, husband to Marie, father to Timothy and Kaylee. Within 2 weeks of its arrival, Marie suffers an intense psychological breakdown and is tortured and murdered in the family home.
By whom? By her husband.
So say the police reports.
But we're also immediately introduced to a concept that would be returned to again and again, and that is flaws in our memory. Differences between what happened and what reality we have created in our minds.
Water supply is poisoned, and we got a burglar. You're losing your mind.
Sorry that we woke you up.
Are you and Daddy fighting because of the woman in the office?
You gotta remember that woman. You saw her too.
I convinced myself I saw a lot of things. But what do we really see? Mom yelling at Dad in the middle of the night. Mom said she heard voices, but it was probably just Dad on the phone.
Trauma is a powerful thing. We go through years of therapy and mental exercises in order to cope with that trauma, so that we create a different reality that may or may not be different from the truth.
Kaylee had to get by on her own. It's very important that you reconnect with your sister. But it's more important that you protect your recovery.
Tim and Kaylee represent two sides of the same mirror, two realities that they have created.
Our father was a cheater and it drove our mother crazy.
Stop it.
He snapped and he killed her, was gonna do the same to us.
Oh yeah, a bad marriage. That explains how Mom had no teeth, no hair, no mind left by the time she died.
Memories of their parents' marriage, which could be indicative of many siblings. One remembers it was their father, abusive, cold, always retreating to his work, perhaps with another woman. Another sibling remembers their mother, full of insecurities, slowly growing mad. Perhaps pushing their father to his own madness. The mirror finds every chance to preserve itself, because the mirror is the reality that has been created. Both have created a reality, and both would do anything to preserve that reality.
You know, I've learned a lot about what happens to people when they can't process something horrible. The mind creates all kinds of protections to help them cope. And once that belief's taken root, the mind takes random information and forces it to support that narrative.
The vision of what their childhood was, what their parents were. Kaylee's intricate research is a means in which she can protect her reality, protect what she has created from their memories. In this case, a supernatural mirror that explains her parents' behavior, something that turned them into monsters. In the end, Tim succumbs to the reality that Kaylee has. He relives it the way it happened, we think, and he destroys the mirror while sacrificing both of them. In a way, if you take the supernatural elements out, it can be seen as a message about inherited psychosis. These two are troubled because of their parents' troubled relationship. They confront it, but they are also breaking the cycle in the process. I doubt either of them are having children now. If you like this video, check out Scary Stories, available now on streaming and DVD. Prince of Darkness I consider one of the most Lovecraftian of Carpenter's films, though many of his films are inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. One of the things that most typifies Lovecraft is that there is a hell-like dominion that is just out of the bounds of our view, and a device or something comes along that bridges our world and that world. We see that in Hellraiser.
But this is what you wanted. This is what you wanted to see. This is what you wanted to know.
We see that in H.P. Lovecraft's From Beyond. In Prince of Darkness, this bridge between worlds is a mirror. But I think the film is also interested in bridging two other things. The film is very concerned about the dichotomy of religion and science. Here you have the late great Victor Wong and the late great Donald Pleasance, two sides of the mirror. As we learn more about what is in the ancient script, we find two sides of the story. One is Jesus the Son of God, a religious explanation. The other is Jesus an alien, a scientific explanation.
Now later on here, Christ comes to warn us. He was of extraterrestrial ancestry, but a human-like race.
Most of the film involves scientific instruments set up in the most religious location there is, a church. And much of the talk involves the idea of science explaining questions that are generally considered religious questions. Both sides have answers to questions the other cannot answer.
Faith in common sense that allows his deception. He lives in the smallest parts of it. In the atoms. Smaller. Invisible. He lives in all of it. In the sum of its parts.
Extraordinary intervention. An intelligent cause other than man.
According to the movie, religion and science are reliant on each other.
Why weren't we told the truth?
Without the technology to confirm, it would have been another legend.
Religion needs science to support it, otherwise it will just be a legend. Science needs religion, or an ancient text, to explain the unexplainable. One of the most memorable scenes of the film are the recordings. And they themselves are a mix of religious premonition and a scientific signal via a broadcast. It is haunting, but it is also a unique melding of religion and science. Finally, we get to the mirror-related idea that is most obvious in the film, and that is a god and an anti-god.
This universal mind resides in the mirror image, instead of in our universe as we wanted to believe. Maybe he's anti-God, bringing darkness instead of light.
Very similar to the scientific existence of matter and antimatter. Mirror images of each other. We can't fully understand one without the other. In the end, we have a Jesus-like anti-God in Kelly.
You guys seen any movies you like?
With the goal to bring her father in from the other world. Both scientifically and religiously, evil needs humans to exist in this world. And in the future, we can expect it is a human that will bring about the end of the world. Ultimately, to find evil, all we need to do is look in the mirror. Mirrors provide a mechanism for touching on great themes in the scary tales we tell ourselves. Looking at the horrors in our movies and stories can be an interesting mirror for what we find truly terrifying. If you haven't already, please check out Scary Stories, now available on streaming and DVD. Thanks for listening to this episode of Scary Studies, the series that examines the stories, movies, and myths of what we find scary. All done with the ultimate message. Horror is fascinating.